One thing we just talked about, it just came up, is participating in clinical trials is a burden. We're just going to put it out there. It is a burden. And there's also benefit. There's both. I have an amazing man that's going to talk about that with you today, with his experience in being so many clinical trials with his husband, his amazing husband.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Help for HD, and all of you for listening to me today. It's really an honor. Congratulations, Help for HD, on your 10-year anniversary. I think a round of applause. You've become everybody, I believe, in this room's family. So I don't know how to thank you enough. Thank you. Many, many thank yous. You continue to inspire Carlos and I and the HD community in the commitment to trials. My name is Stu. I'm the caregiver to my husband, Carlos. Carlos and I, like many, had no idea that HD was in his family or even what HD was. His family was unaware. Standing in front of you today is somewhere I never imagined I would be. I'm glad I'm here. I am nervous, however, I'm honored. I hope in some way I may help you with the stories of caregivers' perspectives, clinical trials, benefits, and burdens. Carlos and I, like many in the room, and those watching online, are living the disease, not just studying the disease. I learned there is a big difference, as you all probably know. We look at it differently than back home. Our recent Center of Excellence, I was encouraging Carlos, a neurologist, to attend some of these things, and he actually mentioned, I hear it's more about the patients, more about the caregivers, and I said, that's what it's all about, is it not? Once Carlos and I learned about HD, we, like many, and I'm sure all, looked for what's next, what's the treatment, what's the cure. We were very disappointed at what we learned in that medical need. We learned you can locate trials via Help for HD, see the booths and reps that are here today, your doctor, clinicaltrials.gov, and HDSA Trial Finder, caregiver groups in the community. I mean, we didn't even know where you find these things. Today we know. Trials are not for everyone. Definitely not for everyone. How does a trial work? As the experts, ask the experts here. Please see their booths, watch their presentations. I am not clinical. I'm just a caregiver that's learning, just like many of you. A trial starts off, at least in my mind, based on research of both failed trials and successful trials. Then the lab, then insects, animals, then to the universities who recruit the patients and the support of their caregivers if the caregivers are available. Most trials are double-blinded, aka placebo. I did not know what placebo was prior to this journey. Placebo is simply a sugar pill. Trials come in phase 1 through 3, and some have phase 4 in different variations. Carlos and I see trials that have not ended well as a success as pharma learns what not to do and inches closer to success. We must have hope, and we know there will be a cure, just like that. Today, there are over 50 pharma working on treatments, and yes, the cure, versus 10 years ago, to my understanding, there were 1 or 2. We have a lot of hope. The community has come a long way, and we can never stop thanking all the medical staff and pharma for its support and passion. I'd like to give pharma for sitting in this room and attending a round of applause. They work weekends and holidays and 24/7. We're in debt to them. They also need us. It is a partnership. The patients give their bodies, and we caregivers support them both. We'd also like to give applause to the HD warriors and those who have been part of a trial and even considered trials and contributed. Thank you to all the HD warriors. Participation in a trial is a huge decision that should not be taken lightly. We are waiting the day when juvenile HD may also have the opportunity to join these trials. Carlos said he would like to be in clinical trials from the beginning. To quote Carlos, I hope they can save me, and if not, I hope I can save others. Carlos told his niece shortly after diagnosis, don't cry for me. I'm here now, and I am happy. You saw a video of me earlier. That video was shot 4.5 weeks ago. Carlos and I were in Tel Aviv. Things changed quickly. we are all here now. And we're working on progress with our community and our family. Carlos has also said, be happy. What is the alternative? Not an easy thing to learn, but he is right. He said he's not scared to die. I am. I can learn from Carlos. With these statements, I learned more about Carlos, as I just mentioned, and he has very brave, inspirational actions of risking his health even more as he inspires me to help the HD community the best I can. Although Carlos is physically his trial in his body, I often say our trial. I almost always say our trial, but it is Carlos's physical body. Carlos has completed the trial of Connect HD for chorea, valbenazine, and Breza. I've never been sure why they keep calling medicines different names, but this is what they do. This medication has been previously approved for TD, so we considered when he went into that trial, a stage 3 trial, a much lower risk than, for instance, the stage 1 trial, which was the first time they tried on patients. They required a clinical visit every 2 weeks for about 3 months. That was a placebo control. We did not know whether he was getting placebo or he was actually getting the medicine. Then a repeat of another 3 months of every 2 weeks as an open label. Here he's guaranteed the medicine, and it's what's called unblinded. The doctors, the clinical investigators, they know he's on the medicine. Before, a lot of people may not be aware, they don't know at the university whether you're getting the medicine or not. After the completion of that, you tend to continue to get the medicine until FDA approved or FDA denied. Near the end of that trial, I did not see a lot of improvement for Carlos with his career. I asked the investigating doctor, if this is an FDA-approved medication, would you keep prescribing it? I wasn't really sure what I was going to get for a response, but the doctor responded, perhaps not. It's a good, honest answer. So caregivers must still advocate for the safety of their loved ones, and also with respect for the trial. A good friend of mine in a recent trial, where her husband appeared to be getting worse with the trial medicine. Then once she was off the trial, she went back to pre-trial normal. Carlos has been in the Enroll HD, which is just a study, basically. He's now in Proof HD trial, and it's currently in its open label. This medicine is called prodopamine. We saw Dr. Hank explaining it earlier, and it's to slow functional decline. Originally in this previous trial, the goal was to slow HD, to my understanding. However, when both trials did not get the end result they were looking for, they noticed after that it slowed functional decline. So these trials, they don't even know sometimes what exactly is going to be the outcome. In this case, it was still a fairly favorable outcome. Carlos continues in this trial as near all the patients in the trial. The benefits and burdens affect both Carlos and I greatly as a team. It is definitely a joint decision of caregiver and patient that should be thought about well, discussed, and researched. Carlos and I are in this together for both the pros and the burdens. We've experienced both and heard of the brave warriors' experiences in their trials. I'm going to start off with the burdens of the trials so we can end on the benefits. Our first attempt at the trial, and this came up a little bit earlier, we found it was fully enrolled. That was disappointing. We went to 2 centers of excellence and no trials, and then we had no trials locally where we were located in Fort Lauderdale. They were a 4-hour drive, so it took a little bit to get there. That was the Roche-Thomerson trial. It's disappointing we didn't get into those trials. Our second attempt for the trial, Carlos did not have the right biomarkers. WAVE at the time could only treat about 60% of the patients. This is also upsetting or disappointing. It was touched on. You want to get in the trial, that's your goal, and you're being told that. Later, we were approved for a trial, so we were excited and jumped into it, not exactly considering the cost, the work, loss of time, and stress. We have traveled from Fort Lauderdale to Vanderbilt University in Nashville over 30 times. A lot of travel. We like to travel. I assure you, however, it's all been worth it, and we do it again and again. That was the Connect HD trial. I point out this trial, medicine valbenazine, which is the treatment of chorea, was later FDA approved. So we do have successes now. Although it did not help Carlos, he did not turn green and have any negative results. So that's what we're looking for. It's safe. So, expenses. We have extensive unreimbursed travel expenses. That's okay, although I didn't know how many times I would realize I would be going to airline flights and so forth. They tend to just give you a check for $50, $100. Now, if you're in a local area, they will usually reimburse for mileage. But when you're flying all over the place, not so much. Bird, I've never been a travel agent, but I became a travel agent. I had to book flights, times, costs, change of flights, delays, trying to fly in the morning, having them examined and then fly out later, which airline tends to not cancel as much. There was a lot to this. You're at one hotel and it used to be a great price, and the next thing you know, it's through the roof. The logistics, delayed flights, hotels, a lot. The pandemic, when we went into that Connect trial, it was the beginning of the pandemic, or maybe it wasn't even here yet. So we were flying all through this, risking COVID in a lot of ways. Now, the good thing about that was our flights from Fort Lauderdale to Nashville were $15 each way. Our expense was the ride to the airport. They were $40. Weather, hot, cold, rain, not prepared. We showed up in Nashville in November wearing shorts. We're from South Florida. Realize where you're going. Burdens, medication control, supervision, timing. Carlos is absolutely wonderful about remembering to take his medicine. Me, not so much. We'll go out to dinner. It'll hit 7 o'clock and he'll start saying, my medicine. I always have it in my pocket, but I wasn't going to give it. You have to stay on top of that. Your loved one is offering their body as an experiment. We must never forget that. That is what they are. They are an experiment. Is this safe for them? Supporting your loved one. Trial can easily make your loved one worse. All medicines have side effects. Aspirin has side effects. Will you feel remorse? They get a spinal tap or something, and then they're not feeling good, and then you're thinking, what have I just done to them? Yes, you should take a spinal tap. Understanding informed consent by both patient and caregiver. It's important. It's very important to understand you're going into an experimental trial. It's unknown results, not FDA approved for anybody but that particular trial. You'll probably find out the results or updates of the trial after it is announced to the stockholders and to the public. That can hurt a lot. You're in the trial, but I understand why that can occur. A trial could suddenly stop with seemingly little attention to you or the local clinical research center. You reach out to they don't know any more than we do, and you understand because there's people in the stock market, and welcome to Big Pharma. So you'll find out when everybody else finds out. But it's your body, or my body, it's patient's body. See how I said your body? I'm sorry to say if this is a long trial, your loved one may decline, and this makes things more challenging. You need to stay in close contact with the medical investigator on changes of meds, anything. See, they're learning. If you're giving them suddenly an aspirin every day, they want to know. They want to see what that's doing for the trial. That can also be a benefit. It may restrict travel and holidays. We want to go away in February, but we need to be in Nashville for the trial. Blood work, MRI, spinal taps, brain surgery, supporting your loved ones during these painful, intrusive activities in aftercare. Also, there could be psychological things that can occur. Not on a trial drug, but Carlos did have a reaction to a medicine, and it caused some psychological things. As soon as he was off it, it was fine again. That is an FDA-approved thing. Commitment. While you're in one trial, you could not be in another trial. You can be in enroll, it's a different thing. But you can't be in 2 trials at the same time, mostly. Of course, you can end your trial anytime. There's nobody that ever stops you from ending your trial. Once you receive the medicine, you may no longer be eligible for other trials as your DNA has changed. Thinking of Thomas and Roche. Some you may, as we just learned with safety. You may be on placebo. Do not go into a trial to get the medicine. This is what I will say. A placebo is just as important as the medicine. HD is slowly progressing, so research must prove to the FDA it has worked. Although I personally question if placebo is needed for juvenile HD as it progresses much more. That's not my decision. That's scientists, FDA. I think maybe we need to work on the FDA on that. Pharma learns from you what your drug reactions can be. They learn the side effects. They don't even know. In Carlos's trial, we do have a few lists of things he may not want to take as they can cause side effects, some severe, some not. At times, what scientists are looking for as an end result may not even occur, but it may be a good or bad result. The benefits of the trial. The honor of being in the trial in the first place. Not all have access or are approved. As I mentioned, we're flying to Nashville. We didn't have a local center that was doing any trials. Today they are. They're starting to do the trials, and we're really pleased by that. The reward for being able to help yourself and help others. I think that's a really good reason to be in the trial. Even in a failure, I like to call a setback. Pharma is still learning. I don't know about you, but I didn't get all A's in my life. And I'm thinking about, I don't remember it, but when we were all walking, we probably fell an awful lot. This is big pharma trying to learn what to do, what not to do in the future. The great benefit of the trial is getting benefit of additional free medical care from the drug trial. Our center of excellence became like our family. We go there, we talk, spend time. The pharmacist calls up, if you need anything. I didn't even know you could have a conversation with pharmacists like this before. They are absolutely there, a huge part of the medical. My pharmacist was CVS and very busy. Getting to meet top managers of the trials and their outreach in special ways. They have an interest in us. Dr. Hank, we saw him earlier. We sat at a table in Puerto Rico, and Big Pharma sat with us, and they asked us pros and cons, different centers of excellence. What do we like? What don't we like? That's such an honor, and they learn this, and we're able to help the community. And there are big differences sometimes between the centers of excellence. Thank you for Help for HD for allowing us to be there. Hank is again sitting with us as is sitting at our table today, so we really appreciate that. Being able to connect with medical and big pharma in a much different way. I've learned at the end of the day, we can pay medical an unlimited amount of money, but scientists are human. They become more determined when they see the patients that they're taking care of and the family. So it's huge. I do believe they should be paid well. They're working on a cure, they're working on a treatment, but they're going to work a little harder when they get this. I have not attended one event without Hank and Seth being there, and I look forward to it. They always ask questions, they come up. I'm in awe, and thank you. By being in the trial, you're taking a more active role in your healthcare. You're really seeing a lot of doctors. What do we normally see doctors every 5 months, 6 months, just depends. In these trials, you heard in the one we were seeing them every 2 weeks. Carlos and I do not believe this should be the primary reason for potentially a successful drug is awaiting FDA approval. You will most likely continue to receive the medicine of doctors in 6 months. This is another pro. These medicines are very expensive. And in the early days, no insurance will pay for it. So great, it just got approved by FDA, and the cost is $10,000 a month. So if we're in a trial, we're probably going to continue to get that medicine until the insurance finally approves it. We know some cost thousands. I've watched some with some diseases out there that cost millions of that. I leave you with this. When Carlos did not get into his first 2 trials, I asked the investigator at Vanderbilt University, what do I do for him? She stated, you may want to get Carlos in any trial that you feel and he feels comfortable with. Getting to know the medical staff can only help you in the future if you wish to pursue trials. That was some of the best advice I'd ever received. Thank you, Brittany from Vanderbilt University. Another trial center, Carlos was declined. I blame myself for having just letting Carlos and I travel 24 hours. Carlos was not rested, and his evaluation to a fairly new neurologist did not go well at all. Carlos was upset like I'd never seen. Carlos never gets upset. He said to the doctor, please, I want to be in your trial. But I'm thinking to myself, you're not going to be in the trial after the way you just were. I would say in the end, that actually worked out for us. A year later, at an event, I was able to talk to that doctor. I thought it was a very positive experience. We both learned. He said he was very new. And I also realized doctors have to be comfortable with their patients. If they don't feel that's the right candidate for the trial, they should never put them in the trial. It's not about the patient, it's about the trial. It's a whole bigger system here, and I absolutely value that. Trials are not for everyone, I mentioned that. I respect those that choose no. They're time-consuming, maybe expensive, demanding of the body, and risky. And they make people worse. Always research with trusted doctors, medical staff, and thank you for listening to me.